All right, so we're going to go over how to use this triangle to figure out the equations that we need to solve problems like this on the Jamboard. So, just as a quick review, the original equation to calculate speed is speed equals distance divided by time. So we put it in this triangle here, like this top one. So speed is equal to the distance divided by time, right? But we can use that triangle then to figure out the equations if we want to calculate distance or if we want to calculate time. So this top triangle here, that is helping us determine what is the equation for distance, right? Notice how there's a black circle around the D. That means that we're solving for distance. Our equation then becomes speed times time. Okay, and you can see that equation here. Distance equals speed times time. Down on the left-hand triangle, we are solving for speed, and that, like we said, is distance divided by time. So we already know that one. And on this right-hand side, we're solving for time. So our equation is distance divided by speed. All right. So let's go ahead and use those to answer some of these questions. Look at number one. It says sound travels at 343 meters per second. If a lightning bolt strikes the ground 200 meters away, how long will it take for the sound to reach you? First thing that you have to ask yourself is, what are the things that we already know? Now, my trick that I like to use is when I see numbers, I want to look at the units, and the units can help me determine what they are. So, like, for example, 343 meters per second. Whenever you see a unit that's like meters per second or miles per hour or feet per minute, whenever it's that type of unit, that's going to be speed. Then we go over here, 200 meters away. Look at that unit, meters. Meters is a measure of distance. So 200 meters is our distance. So here's how you can write it out. We know that the speed is equal to 343 meters per second, and we know that the distance is equal to 200 meters. So then what's the one thing that's missing? Speed, distance, we're missing time. And that's what that question asks you. It says, how long is it going to take the sound to travel to you? So time is missing. We put a question mark in there. All right. Now, what equation are we going to use? Go back to your triangle. We want to find time, which means our equation is distance divided by speed. So now you go back to your problem. We said time equals distance divided by speed. So if we plug in some numbers, distance was 343 divided by distance was 200. Speed was 343. Oh, space out just a little bit. So then what does that equal? You're gonna have to use a calculator. I like to use my phone. Okay, so you pull up, right? You have an iPhone, pull it up, grab your calculator, hit clear, and then you go 200 divided by 343, hit enter. And it's gonna be a weird decimal, and that's okay. Just round it to the nearest hundredth. So that means to the second decimal point. So 0.58. And we're going to leave it at 0.58, okay? So 0.58 goes in our answer. Now, what is our unit there? If you're confused on what unit you should use for time, look at what unit was used in speed. Speed was measured in meters per second. So that means time is seconds. All right, now that is your final answer, okay? All right, I hope that was okay. You can press pause now. You can rewind. You can rewatch. You can do the problem yourself now. Whatever floats your boat. I'm going to move on to number 2. It says a football field is about 100 meters long. If it takes a person 20 seconds to run its length, how fast were they possibly running? So again, you got to ask yourself, what are we given in the problem? Let's look at some numbers here. 100 meters, is that speed, distance, or time? Meters is a measure of distance. 100 meters. Okay. If a person takes 20 seconds is a measure of time. Oops. Okay, which means we are solving for speed, which is what the question is asking. How fast are they going? I mean, what is their speed? So that makes sense. Okay, now what is that equation for speed? You can come back to your triangles here. If we want to solve for speed, the equation is distance divided by time. So let's draw that out. I'm going to go ahead and make this long. All right, so speed equals, oops, what did I type there? Distance divided by time. Speed equals, and then let's plug in some numbers. Distance was 100. Time was 20, which means speed is equal to, what is 100 divided by 20? 5? If you're not sure, you can use your calculator, right? So you pull it up, and then you plug in 100, oh, you can see that, 100 divided by 5 is 20. Oh, what did I do? I did it wrong. You guys, 100 divided by 20 is equal to 5. Okay, so 5 what? Units of what? Well, what was the unit for distance? Distance was measured in meters. Slash means per, and then the time was measured in seconds. So the speed is 5 meters per second. Okay, I'm going to do a couple more problems with you. Go to slide number 2. This one says, how many more slides do we got? Yeah, I'll do one more slide worth of problems, and then you guys can do it on your own. If a motorcycle is moving at a constant speed down the highway at 40 kilometers per hour, how long would it take the motorcycle to travel 10 kilometers? What are we given in that problem? Look at your numbers there. Their motorcycle is moving with a speed of 40 kilometers per hour. Okay, what else are we given? It says that the motorcycle is going to travel 10 kilometers. So that would be your distance, 10 kilometers. The question itself is saying how long, which means how much time is going to pass. So we need to solve for time. Boop, boop, boop. All right. So now what is the equation we're going to use? Go back to your triangles. We are solving for time, distance divided by speed. So time equals distance divided by speed. Okay, now we can plug in some numbers here. Our distance was 10, our speed was 40. So that means what? If you're not sure, use a calculator, that's okay. 10 divided by 40 is that right? Is that right? Oh yeah, it is. 0.2 0.25. 0.25 what? Time. What was time measured in our units of speed? It was measured in hours. So that means this is 0.25 hours. What's a quarter of an hour? That's 15 minutes. All right, there's your answer for that one. I will do number 4. The pitcher's mound in baseball is 85 meters from the plate. It takes 2 seconds for a pitch to reach the plate. How fast is the pitch? So what are things that we are given? The distance between the mound and the plate. We were given that. We know that that is 85 meters. We also know how fast, or no. We know how long, like if we time it. It takes 2 seconds for that pitch to go from the mound to the plate. So that's time. And then we want to figure out how fast that pitch is going, so that's your speed. Okay, what is the equation we're going to use? If we're trying to solve for speed, our equation is distance divided by time. Go here, go there, draw that out. Speed equals, oops, why does it always do that? Distance divided by time. Singing makes it easier, I promise. All right, distance was 85 meters. Time, 2 seconds. I didn't do units. It's 2 seconds. All right, 85 divided by 2. I'm going to take a guess and say it's 40 something. 85 divided by 2 is 42.5. 42.5 what? What are the units? Combine the units of distance and time. Distance was measured in meters. Time was measured in seconds, so the speed of the pitch was 42.5 meters per second. All right, that is your help for this Jamboard. You can finish the other problems on your own. Looks like on slide 3, very similar problems. On slide 4, they're talking about velocity, so you're going to do calculating speed very similarly, but then you want to include direction, which is going to be forwards or backwards. All right, let me know if you need any additional help.